Now, ladies and gentlemen, news just in about the upcoming Budapest Major, which does start just this next week, and not even day one, there's already major controversies and drama about them being the main tournament organizer for this event. Now, just some of this is the tournament organizers' interesting yet controversial pick for their main sponsor of the event, that being an online casino. And with YouTube and Twitch's policy, you can't even have that on your broadcasts, which would ultimately mean there's no event, especially when this is not specifically a Kick exclusive. But that's really just the start. Many players and streamers in this scene are outraged for various different reasons, but the main thing is this won't be able to be broadcasted, and you won't even be able to do it yourself unless you're a co-host, which you have to be approved for doing it on Kick. As well as somewhere in between, where is and does Valve stand in all of this? Will they take action? Is it too late? And will they make new guidelines for tournament organizers going forward? But before we go any further, I want to give a big thanks to SkinsMonkey for sponsoring today's video. Are you tired of your old and current Counter-Strike loadout and want to trade it out for something new? Well, SkinsMonkey has you covered. As a buying and trading marketplace, SkinsMonkey has a large variety of skins to choose from, giving you the ability to swap out skins with just the click of a few buttons. All you have to do is select the skins you no longer want, pick the ones you want to obtain, and then of course click trade. While doing so, be sure to use my code VANDO for up to a free $5 while trading, and the same goes with depositing on SkinsMonkey with their many different deposit options. Where if you use my code while depositing, you get an additional 5%, making it 35% more of a deposit bonus and 35% more skins. And not to mention, they also offer daily, weekly, and monthly giveaways. Thanks again to SkinsMonkey for sponsoring today's video. So very quickly, this is myself on the post edit, and there is some brand new news regarding the Starladder Major and Twitch's and YouTube's rules for people and players in the community in order to co-stream this event. Now, there's multiple different articles of this from multiple different sources, but the first thing that came to my attention was from Osni CS, which he's quoting a Dexterto article. He says, just in, Twitch has confirmed that for the Starladder Major, their sponsor does not violate their rules. This means the official stream and authorized co-streamers will be able to stream the Major on Twitch. And he said, for additional information provided, Twitch confirmed the sponsor doesn't violate their rules because the event and sponsor have agreed to limit the sponsorship during the stream to physical branding only. They also clarified that verbal mentions and links to the website on their stream are not allowed, but the sole use of physical branding does not violate these terms. But with that being said, like throughout today's video, we've discussed some problems that are pretty big that are not really being talked about much. That being, in order for people to stream this, one, they're getting invited by Starladder, will just exclusively stream this on Twitch, most likely to plug that sponsor even more. And with Valve's recent update just as of last night, it's pretty clear that I think at this point in time, it's safe to say that Valve and Starladder have gone way too far to the point of them canceling the event or anything like that. And I also think it's because it's, well, a big gray area. Not to mention the stickers have already sold, the event's going to begin with just a little under a week, people and players and spectators have made their plans to watch this, so it's kind of too late for any changes to happen. But let me know what you guys think. Now, firstly, for today's video, I want to go back to the start for where this all began, at least where I saw it for the very first time. This tweet firstly came up from Exerpass about some new news regarding the Budapest Major for 2025. He says this major is not a Kick exclusive, which is no shocker because none of them ever have been or probably will be. He says Rollbit is their main sponsor. If you co-stream it on Twitch and YouTube, you are breaking the rules and you could be banned from those platforms. Most likely you will be. If you want to watch it on GoTV without any altercations or really any big ads, well, you're gonna have a 3-minute delay from GoTV if you want to do it on Twitch, and multicaster or production level broadcasts are not allowed under community terms. Is this what I'm hearing? And really where I first saw this was actually from Aquarius is Missing on Twitter, which links to both of these guys will be in the description. But he said if I have $1 for every time Starladder fumbled a Counter-Strike Major, I would have $2, which isn't a lot, but it's weird to say that because it happened twice, which I completely agree with. Starladder's a weird tournament organizer because they haven't really been around. I'm not going to say for too long because they did have a major pretty long time ago back in Go, but both times it's been very interesting to say the least about the final outcome. To sum it up for you, for the people who think PGL is bad because of their audio, this is pretty much on crack 10 times over. And like I was stating at the intro of today's video, there's always two sides to every story. And I want to go firstly into the obvious one, but then the second, which will probably explain why so many of your favorite teams, organizations go in and out of Counter-Strike so often, some of them declaring some sort of bankruptcy, and then come back like 100 Thieves just did, yet now with an online casino as their main sponsor. Because I got news for you before we go any further, it's more than just money, at least the way than you think it is. Really, without this type of sponsorship, Counter-Strike, especially with esports, would not be here today, which it probably shouldn't be like that, but that's how it is. So the first side of things is probably the obvious and what probably most people are on. They're against this completely, they're asking where Valve is in all of this, and will something be done in the future? So funny enough, after doing some research for how tournament organizers essentially get selected for majors, it's kind of a vetting process. You have to meet a bunch of very strict qualifications that Valve has, especially with CS2 and their brand new VRS system, but you also have to cough up some of your own dollars, which is, well, a lot more than it used to be, which is also, I think, some of the reason why we see so many, well, similar ones here in CS2 than we did in Go, where it felt like every major was different. And really off the bat, no, Valve did not know they had this sponsorship before they were selected, or even up until recently, because they didn't have this sponsor up until recently. Rollbit, for those who don't know, is an online casino that also offers, well, you to play with CS skins, which is also interesting because it kind of goes against against Valve TOS in some sort of way. But that's besides the point. What I'm getting at with that is Valve didn't know about this before it was too late, and now that they are too late, the major starts next week, all this planning, all this money has been prepared, the stickers have been added. I mean, what is Valve gonna do at this point? They can't really do much because the major's about to begin and they can't just swap out tournament organizers like that because it just wouldn't work. So in regards to Valve, I think going forward, at least if they're smart and they want to, well, control some of the backlash here, I think personally they're probably gonna have some sort of new guideline in regards to sponsorships for their event. But let me know what you guys think. And with that being said, because that was the main side, well, there's always two sides. Let's now go into the second. On the other hand of things, it's a weird, sticky situation. Because I'd like to say for the most part that not many people, if really people at all, want to take these type of sponsorships, but all of these teams within CS, they wouldn't be here without them. And really the reason for that is because of how expensive Counter-Strike, but also esports as a whole has gotten over the last few years. This is why so many esports, if it's the Overwatch League, eventually Call of Duty, possibly League of Legends in the near future, is eventually probably going to cease to exist, and then maybe one day Counter-Strike, but I don't know. Because if it wasn't for Valve funding these tournaments, giving $1 million a year for the prize pool, I don't really think there'd be too much motivation or much really money pumped into these things to begin with. Even our favorite teams like FaZe Clan, Navi, yes, they're most likely making a boatload of money, but that money has to go places and go places very quickly once it's in their inventory. Because it costs a boatload of money to pay these players, fly them out to all these events, pay their salaries, pay for meals, coaches, you name it. But at one point, will this ever get cheaper? Because I don't really think it's ever going to unless something really big happens. And yeah, it sucks and it is sad. This is the way competitive Counter-Strike is. But like we've said throughout this video, without this type of sponsorship and without these things in the game, Counter-Strike as we know it wouldn't be here and probably would cease to exist, at least of its former self. Not that I'm sticking up for the Starladder Major. I think personally, Valve is in a very tough and sticky spot because they can't really pull a fast one, remove the major from, well, just the schedule, because that would ruin so many other people's schedules, piss the community off, so on and so forth. But I think some disciplinary actions could be taken against the the tournament organizer. But I mean, let me know what you guys think. What do you guys think about the scenario? Which side are you guys on? Do you guys understand both sides? Because that was my ultimate goal throughout today's video, was to really explain the both, because I don't really think many people think about it, but also really know about it. Because it's kind of like the other side of Counter-Strike, the underworld that no one knows about. Ladies and gentlemen, that pretty much concludes today's episode of CS2 News. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Ladies and gentlemen, fall out.